We haven't actually made a decision yet. So now we need to start to flesh some stuff out. So it's like, okay, cool. Well, my job's to help you. It's never to talk you into doing anything. Before I go, what I'd like to do is just go over a couple decisions that a seller needs to make prior to putting their home on the market, in hopes that, sharing them with you, it'll help you to make the decision that you feel is best, and whatever you decide, I'll support you. Fair enough. Now, when I say before I go, in their mind, they're like, oh, this is done. But we're not done. Not done at all.
We're just getting started.
We're just getting started, bro. It's exactly right. It's like, all right, well, the first decision that a seller needs to make prior to putting their home on the market is if they're even going to sell it. Sometimes when I sit down with homeowners, when they see what the marketplace is willing to bear based on, what buyers and sellers have been agreeing to, it's not in alignment with what their expectations are, or perhaps what they even need from a net perspective in order to make the move happen. So they decide to do something different. Now, based on our conversation and preparation for connecting, the questions I asked you over the phone and why you're making the move, I don't think that's a serious consideration for you. I mean, you've definitely decided you're going to sell the home. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, good. So we've made that decision. On my little notepad, I'd be like, and then the second decision that we need to make is around the price, how we're going to position the property price-wise. Now, I am very clear that your preference would be that it be more, and I would as well, because the more we help you sell it for, the more we get compensated to help. Are we in agreement, having looked at this information in terms of what's active on the market, not selling, what's sold and closed most recently, the market stats here in Oxnard, and what's been happening with inventory rising and demand softening, that's somewhere around 750 the marketplace is showing us would be reasonable?
Yeah.
Okay, so it sounds like you made that decision. And then the third decision that a seller needs to make prior to putting their home on the market is just really who's going to help you. Now, you strike me to be super straightforward and to the point, Jose. I'm the exact same way. So let me just ask, based on our initial conversation via telephone, going online and doing your due diligence, checking us out, seeing track record and reviews, based on our conversation today, do you feel comfortable and confident with me and my team that we can help you sell this home and that I would look out for your best interest?
I do, yeah.
So, it really sounds like you've made all decisions that a seller needs to make prior to putting their home on the market. May I make a suggestion?
Sure.
Let's do this. I have the appropriate documentation with me, right? I can have the photographer out here tomorrow and we could be up and active on the market by Monday. And you can save yourself, another 2 hours of listening to somebody's spiel. You really don't want to sit for 2 more hours listening to another real estate agent, do you?
No, but I'm kind of curious, about what they're going to do to market the property,
Okay. And let's tell me a little bit more about that, right? When you say what they're going to do to market the property, is that in hopes that perhaps some sort of marketing could help you to get more money?
Yeah.
Yeah. I appreciate your honesty. If we are going to enter into a relationship, Jose, it's got to be based on trust. And part of that trust is being able to ask each other straightforward questions and give each other straightforward answers. So we're definitely moving in the right direction there. So let's look at that together as a team. Ultimately, who would you say determines value? Is it me and you? Is it a real estate agent?
No, it's obviously, I think that the more people we can get the property in front of, the better,
Yeah, sure.
Especially being that my house is pretty unique,
Yeah, and I do appreciate that. In terms of, the more people we can get in to take a look at it, that's absolutely correct. At the same time, I don't need to tell you, because I know you know this already, what something's worth is what somebody's willing to pay for it. Now, having looked at this information and seeing that the last closed sales were at 760 or 770, and that was 6 months ago, and now there's ones active on the market at 770, 780, and even 800, and they're not selling. Let me ask you this, Jose. If another agent came in here, looked you right in the eye, and told you they could get you 800 because of their amazing marketing techniques, having seen this information, would you list with them based on that alone?
No, but I want to see some backup data,
Yeah. And why wouldn't you though? Because I think you would agree that all agents have access to the same data, yes?
I would, yeah.
Yeah. So if having looked at the same information we looked at, they told you 800, you said to me very clearly, nah, I wouldn't do that. But why would you have that reaction?
Well, I think that 800 is too high of a number,
Can I share with you the nitty gritty of my business?
Sure.
Yeah. So, agents, they're very, very tempted to come in to tell you something that you want to hear just to earn your business and then to beat you up on price. And they'll try to justify, a number perhaps that they know you want by saying that they can get it based on marketing.
Yeah.
At the same time, though, when we have 3 of your neighbors that have tested at higher prices and they're not selling, they've done us an enormous favor. Do you know what it is?
No.
They've tested the market for us at certain prices and it's not working. And we can learn from that. So independent of marketing, what do you think they're going to have to do to actually get their home sold if they really want to sell it?
Probably be in line with the market.
That's right. You see, Jose, people like you hire me because I tell them the truth. Do you know why people like you don't?
Why?
Because I tell them the truth. I mean, you want an agent that has an intestinal fortitude to look you right in the eye and be truthful in terms of what the marketplace is showing us is reasonable, and not try to give you a dog and pony show about their marketing and how they can get you more, and then systematically beat you up on price month after month. That's not what you want, is it?
Of course not.
You know what the great news is?
What?
You can avoid all of that by just hiring me today. I mean, you've already indicated that you feel comfortable and confident with me and that I can help you to get the most. I have all the appropriate paperwork with me. Let's just go ahead and get started.
It's funny because the direction that I was thinking about taking that one is very similar to when you, and what you're doing whenever you're asking them is you're not setting them up, but you're basically like, hey, look, if the other agent offers to list it for a higher price, would you automatically want to work with them?
Oh, and that's the like Dagger question. Because when you ask that, it puts them right on the spot. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, and then, but you also can ask, let me ask you this, if the other agent offers you a lower commission, would you automatically work with them? Because that kind of the way I was kind of envisioning this was just like, okay, like, so it sounds like at this point, like you're not like 100% convinced that you want to work with me, and you were thinking about like meeting with the other agent just to get one final opinion. Just out of curiosity, Aaron, or before I go, remind me again, like, what is it that you're looking for in whichever professional like you end up hiring for the job of helping you sell the property? And then obviously that opens up the dialogue. Well, I'm looking for somebody, blah, blah, blah. I'm looking for somebody, blah, blah, blah. And then you could go in a couple of different directions right there. Number one is you could just say, hey, look, is experience important to you? So what are you looking for? Is experience important to you at all? And you could go down that direction. So, hey, Aaron, is experience important to you?
Yeah. I want somebody who's got a good track record, sure.
Let me ask you this, like, when you meet with an agent, like, how are you going to know if that agent is experienced or not?
I mean, I guess I'd want to see their track record.
What if I told you that there's a way online where you can actually verify any agent's track record, and it'll tell you how many homes they've sold in the last 12 months and how many homes they've sold in their career, which essentially tells you their experience? If there was a way that you can do that online, would that be helpful to you? And I think that this is going to add a lot of clarity to your process, because one thing is obviously you want to meet with them and see how comfortable you feel. The second thing is you want to be able to verify the experience. So, okay, so the way you do it is you type in the first name, last name, and then you go on Google, and then you type in Zillow right after their name. So give me the name of anybody. It doesn't even have to be the person that you're considering, but just give me any name just to kind of show you how it works.
Yeah, Susie Smith.
Okay, Susie Smith, and then Zillow. Okay, so if you see the first link that showed up is that Zillow profile. Now, the cool thing is that once we click on that link, look, it tells you how many homes they've sold in the last 12 months, which is 6. And then in their career, it actually shows 25 properties in their career, basically. Mm-hmm. So just so you know, 6 is actually a really good number. Just so you know, the average agent only sells between 2 to 3 homes a year. So 6 is actually double the amount of properties that an average agent sells. Now, the cool thing is that it actually shows you the address of every single property that they've sold, which if you pay attention here, I know your property is in Oxnard. It actually says Camarillo, Thousand Oaks, Newberry Park, Simi Valley, and blank, which means that most of her business is on the other side of the grade. And here's the interesting thing. It actually tells you who they represented as well, too, whether they represented a buyer or a seller. Now, the cool thing is that in this case for Susie, it shows that she represented a lot of buyers, which means that if you were looking to buy a home, that might be the right agent for you, just because obviously the skills between representing a seller and representing a buyer are completely different. Let me ask you this. Is this the other agent that you're considering by any chance?
Yeah, it is.
Would you like to see our track record?
Sure, that's fine.
Okay, now before I show it to you, I just want to be clear. My intention in showing you this is never to talk bad about any other agent or never to say, hey, look, I'm better than anybody. It's simply to help give you additional information so that you can make a better decision. Zillow profile shows up. How many sales in the last 12 months?
128.
Okay, and then how many sales in your career?
Yeah, it looks like 1,000.
1,000 homes sold. The difference is if you see the sales, you look at this map and you look at the city of Oxnard, there's a lot of sales in that. And if you look at the history, it's like Oxnard, Camarillo, Oxnard. A majority of our business comes in Oxnard. Let me ask you this. Is having an agent with experience in Oxnard important to you?
It is.
If you were going to hire an agent and you saw you had a choice between two agents, one that sold 25 properties in their entire career and one that has sold close to 1,000 properties, which agent do you think would have higher chances of helping you sell your property, but also making it a much smoother process and helping you get top dollar? The agent that sold 25 or the agent that sold maybe 1,000?
Well, yeah, 1,000, sure.
Can I make a recommendation to you?
Sure.
I'm ready to go to work for you, man. I love the crown molding. I love the cul-de-sac. I love the fact that it backs to the school. I believe in this property. I'm confident I can get the job done. All I need is the opportunity. Would you give me the opportunity to work with you?
Let's go. Yeah, it's good.
Okay.
And you have to be very tactful, because when you go down that route, and I did it a handful of times in my career when, you know, it was necessary, right? You got to be real tactful of how you go about doing it, because talking smack about anybody, you never want to bash them, because it's never a good look. All you have to do is think about, like, if you've ever been around friends and they're talking about somebody, it never is a good look, right? So you got to be, hey, my intention in sharing this with you is not to disparage them in any way. I'm sure they're a nice person. I know ultimately for you, this is a business decision and really about who can help you net the most and do it quickly and efficiently. And as such, looking at track records, I find that it can help to provide you with some clarity as far as how to make that decision. Does that make sense? And then you go through it and then you're like, yeah, I mean, I guess, you know, if you had a friend and your friend was going to hire an agent in Oxnard to help them sell their home, and you didn't know who the two agents were, but all you did was look at these two track records, which one would you tell your friend to go with?
That's actually a really good question. Yeah.
They're like, well, clearly that one. And why is that? Well, they sell more homes in the area and they got it. Yeah. So with all that being said, can I make a suggestion? What's that? Let's put me to work. I'm ready to go. Like, I'm here. I have the paperwork with me. Let's take your really good advice that you would give your friend and you take it as well.
Yeah. Here's a different way that you can go over the track record. And this one was from Neil. He said it on stage one time. He's like, look, if you talk to different people, most people will say you need to interview more than one person for the job of selling the property. Would you agree with that statement?
Yes.
Yes, I would. Okay. So when people say that, what they actually mean is that you need to interview as many people as you have to until you find the right one. You actually got really lucky. Can I explain to you what I mean by that?
Mm-hmm.
You ended up finding the very best agent on your first try. Let me ask you this. Is experience important to you? And then you can go into the track record right there.
Yeah, and then just close. I guess what's important is I want everybody to see these like tracks and not to freeze when they say, I got to think about it, or I want to interview another agent, or we have one more interview after you. Because you have to have something beyond that, because I need everybody to also be clear. Not like, you know, nothing works every time.
And that's why you have to have the different tracks. And I think the first thing is clarifying.
So what I can tell you though is that, like, if you do what we're saying, probably 30 to 40% of the time, you will walk out with the contract signed that day. And that's a huge, when you magnify that out over time, it ends up being a gigantic difference, right? Like when I was listing 100 homes a year, at least like probably 30 of them, 25 to 30 would be like this, where at the end they're like, you know, I want to think about it. Interview. Okay. And then you can handle it. And 30 to 40% of them dial up right now and authorize an agreement. If not, then I circle back to come back.
Now, here's the other thing too. Whenever I ask them at the very beginning, like, hey, look, just out of curiosity, what are you looking for in an agent? Here's the different talk track that I was thinking in what you were role playing. The different talk track that I was thinking is, well, let me ask you this. Like, obviously you're looking for somebody honest. You're looking for somebody straightforward. You're looking for somebody that matches all those qualities. Let me ask you this. Like, if you met with the other agent tomorrow and that other agent just basically said, hey, look, like, I can actually help you get a better price in the 700 that we're talking about right now, would you automatically work with them?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. And why not?
I see here from the numbers that we looked at that I see what the marketplace is showing us is reasonable.
So even if they said, hey, look, 800,000, it sounds like you wouldn't go in that direction. Let me ask you this. Like, if the other agent came tomorrow and they said, hey, look, instead of 6%, I could actually do it for a lower fee? Like, what if they said, hey, look, I can do it for 3.5%? Would you automatically work with them?
Maybe. So when that happens, now we go down the track of handling that.
But so what I'm getting from this is, in the I need to think about it, you're basically saying it's a big decision, isn't it? And then you're flushing out the objection.
Yes.
What this does right now is you're basically in a different way flushing out the objection.
That's right.
So by asking them if you would work with the other agent if they said a higher price, you're basically asking them, hey, look, is price the issue? And are you wanting to get a second opinion about price?
That's exactly right.
If you tell them about the commission.
And like so many times, if you think about it, you've walked out of like how many times have you walked out of a listing appointment and then they called you and told you the reason why they went with somebody else? And you're like, bro, I would have talked to you about that.
Yeah.
But you didn't know because you didn't flush it out.
Yeah. So basically, by asking those questions, you're basically flushing it out, and you're basically setting them up. So if you don't walk away without a contract signed, you're basically saying, hey, look, like if the other agent offered you a lower fee, would you work with them? Now, if they say maybe I would work with them, then at that point, the reason they may not be signing up with you right now is maybe they aren't aware that you're willing to work on your fee a little bit. And if you were willing to work on your fee, maybe they'd hire you right there on the spot, basically.
That's exactly right. Yeah. So the whole thing is you want to get really good at just fleshing out what's the reason, because when you walk out, the probability that they're going to sign with you, it drops precipitously. It drops dramatically, like as every day goes by. Don't take a no when a yes is still possible. Have something in your tool belt when they say these things so you can ask some more questions. Do your best to flush it out. That will allow you to convert more like maybes into yeses, and you'll just take more listings, you do more deals, and you make more money.
And then the last thing I would say as it relates to that is, from time to time, if they're going to be interviewing, like let's say that doesn't go, like they don't sign, I may say something like, look, Aaron, since you are going to interview somebody else, I want to make sure that if you're comparing two different companies, that we're comparing apples to apples instead of apples to oranges. So what I like to do for you, if you're okay with it, is I like to go over our marketing plan and what we're going to do to help you get top dollar for your property. Would you be okay with that? And then I would take out my marketing plan and go over maybe like the first 5 or 6 steps and what has happened in those instances. Then those 5 or 6 steps, now it's like, oh man, like I didn't know you offered this, this, and this. That's actually really good. It increases my desirability, which now I can come back and close. Or if maybe marketing is one of the things that they want to hear about the other agent, now when they compare marketing plans, they're going to make a decision like which marketing plan is better. So you want to make sure, especially for certain price properties, you want to make sure like, hey, look, like, so I will, if I'm not getting a contract signed, I will do what I can not to walk away at the very end without presenting 5 or 6 different steps as it relates to the marketing. And then you can turn it back into a close. So after you get done with those 5 or 6 different steps, look, man, at this point, obviously, like I'm excited about the opportunity. I know that I can get the job done. I know that I can do the best marketing for you. I believe in this, this, and this. All I need is the opportunity. Like, would you give me the opportunity?
And then be quiet, and then they'll look at each other and like, don't say a word, bro. Like, let them sit in that, right?
So that marketing plan could actually transition. So sometimes, like if I notice that it's getting a little tense, I'll revert back to the marketing plan to basically drop the tension a little bit, increase my desirability, and then come back and basically ask for them to give me the opportunity again.
Yeah, it's great, bro. And that's what we're all about here, guys, is tactics, right? Most people teach mindset because they can't teach tactics. And what we all need in this environment, and the environment I believe is going to persist for an extended period of time in terms of rates being high and inventory climbing and demand softening and all those things, is we need skills, because skills pay the bills, baby. So keep tuning in and we'll keep equipping you with those skills. We appreciate you guys. Go be great.
Later.